And good evening, everyone. Was totally not expecting to be on the show tonight, but due to my phone absolutely blowing up when I was at my day job, I was like, dang, I really gotta get home fast and cover this monstrosity of a trade that just happened. So if you're a Mariners fan and you are wondering what in the world happened, the Seattle Mariners traded away Jared Kelenic, Marco Gonzalez, and Evan White. Jared Kelenic, one of the rising stars off of that Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz trade. Well, he did kick a cooler. Marco Gonzalez, who was a long-time, somewhat steady starter, but then he pretty much just fell apart and became an albatross of a contract. He's gone. And then Evan White, who now makes $7 million a year, who signed that 6-year something contract when he was not even a rookie, didn't even play Major League Baseball yet. He is also gone. So just by looking at this on the surface, it seems to be a salary dump where you're basically freeing up $20 million. But here's the return that the Mariners got. Now, let's take a look at this trade. So the Mariners got back Cole Phillips, who was a top 10 prospect in the Braves system. But it's just too early to say whether he's actually going to be any good. Like, he hasn't even played Major League Baseball yet. He hasn't even played the minor leagues yet. So he's years away. He was a 2022 second-round pick, so he hasn't even played at all. And that's since 2022. That's concerning. Like, not even rookie ball or anything like that. And the other guy, Jackson Kowar, who's an unproven bullpen pitcher. And whenever he was in the major leagues, and let's take a look at those numbers, which I'm not too impressed about. Let's take a look. And if you look at all that combined, he's a combined 2-6 guy. His ERA is close to 10. I would not feel good about that at all. But with how Jerry DiPoto does about how he does about his old bring pitchers out of nowhere, he's expected to blossom him into a star, just like what they did to Paul Sewald and Kendall Graveman, Taylor Saucedo, Gabe Spire. That's what they're trying to do. So bottom line, I don't like this trade. Just on the surface, I don't like the trade. Even on a tanking situation, I would have hated this trade, especially when you just got that package. And it seemed that Jared Kelenic, he was the trigger to even make this trade happen, because if Jerry DiPoto does have a plan to bring in new players like Shohei Ohtani, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, other free agents, and maybe players to trade for from Tampa Bay, which I've heard rumors about. If that is the plan, fine by all means. But I'm still butthurt Jared Kelenic is gone, because he was my favorite player throughout this entire time of the rebuilding process since 2019. He gave me those Bryce Harper feels, but now I don't get to feel it anymore. But yeah, that's how it feels. Now, of course, if the Mariners do make these moves, then the trade's all worth it. And I think I just repeated myself. But if the Mariners are saying that, oh, we're going to compete with what we got and bank on the farm system, you are asking for failure. And let's just say this. If the team is playing right now with this team, they'll be lucky to even break 70 wins with this kind of team. 70 or maybe 80 if you're lucky. Looks like I got some comments blowing up. So let's take a look at that before I lose track of all of you guys. And also, if you guys could do it, donate to this channel as well, as I do have plans to keep growing this channel in the future, as I want to do this as long as possible, just based on the passion, because this is a passion project. So please make those donations when you get the opportunity, and also subscribe to this channel as well, as I am getting close to 1,200 subscribers. So let's make that happen as well. Chris, how's it going? I think you were the one that kind of broke it to me, along with other people, especially a friend of mine on Instagram. Why must Jerry do this to us? Jerry must do everything to us. He's better have a plan, right? I get Kelenic wasn't the best player on the roster, but he definitely was a spark in that lineup that got everyone pumped up. I agree. That's why I did not like getting rid of him. Yes, he shouldn't have kicked the cooler. He did strike out too much. He did fall apart after May. But I think he should have deserved at least one more season. Like, injuries got to him, but yeah, he really shouldn't have kicked the cooler. And that strikeout that he had when he kicked that cooler, he had nothing to be ashamed of. Like, he was working a really good count on that pitcher who was throwing flamethrowers, and he took at least 10 pitches to get out. Rooftop, love the trade personally. They aren't done. I hope you're right. Kicking dirt. Report coming out that Dipoto told Divish payroll will increase in 2024. There is more coming. That's what we are hoping for. But actions speak louder than words, because if it's payroll, maybe it's like, what, you're bumping it by 1 million or something to sign a bunch of scrubs? that could statistically be possible, but they better not do that. My good friend Ryan. Now, if you're wondering who Ryan is, he was a good friend of mine, and also he deserves the credit for making my Yordan Alvarez trade happen back in 2022 last year, and I got 24,000 views, so you can thank him for that. So if anything, Ryan did kickstart my channel, so I'll give you credit for that. Absolutely. What we got? If we don't sign yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, if you want to boycott, then go ahead, and you shouldn't be considered a bandwagon fan. It's like it's understandable, but hey, that's why we got YouTubers like me, Couch GM, Mariners Mojo, Jay Trident. That's what we're here for, and Marine Layer. We're here to cover that for you guys. Yeah, exactly. Actions speak louder than words. This is the worst month besides the Huskies. Yeah, absolutely. The Seahawks have been awful. Kraken's been terrible. Mariners are execute ordering 66. I wonder if they're freeing up. There's no cap space, Ryan. It's just their own budget. So no cap space. They cleared a bunch of bad contracts. Yeah, but I'm going to miss Jared Kelenic. I really am. Make or break season for Dipoto. Yeah, I would think so, because he's had plenty of time to get this done. Don't quit your day job. Yep, still on that day job. Had I not had my day job, I mean, I would have done this show much earlier. Maybe I'd be at 50 people by now. I'm just thankful I've even had 13 viewers. They must have signed someone like Ohtani, or yeah, that's the only way it makes sense. I agree. I still wouldn't have dumped Jared Kelenic, but Jared Kelenic is the reason why this trade was even made possible, because he still has an insane upside. And I do expect him to break out in Atlanta. I actually really do. You just listed 4 huge reasons. He's not a clutch hitter. Yeah, he's not. Yep, I love you too. And Ian, I think you were the one who broke it to me. Kelenic had promise. I mean, could be a different Ian. Kelenic had promise, but the return doesn't. And that's what's upsetting. Really is. Unless that pitcher does really well, which I will take a close eye on him. I'll go to some minor league baseball games, which I do plan to do it on a more regular basis. And if you want me to go to more games, hit that donation button so I can get some more tickets. I'd love to be paid to go to Mariners games. Yeah. Chris said, okay, now I gotta slow down. All right. Now there was a tweet that Shannon Dreyer just put out. It was regarding the Jared Kelenic trade. Gonna definitely take a look at that one and see what it was said. I gotta go find it. So I'm gonna go to Shannon Dreyer. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. And thank you for being on my show. I really appreciate it. I do plan to maybe go up to an hour on this show, so bear with me on that. And also subscribe to this channel if you're new. And if you are if you're a loyal subscriber, hit that donation button too. Give me money to go to a minor league baseball game, right? Or to just grow this channel and get me some equipment. All right, Shannon Dreyer. This is what Jerry Dipoto said. And you know what? I will share the screen so all of you can read it. Here it is. I want to thank Marco, Jared Kelenic, and Evan White for the contributions to our club. All 3 played key roles at different stages of our growth over the past several seasons, said President of Baseball Operations, Jerry Dipoto. As we continue to work through this offseason with a goal of improving our team for 2024 and beyond, we believe the additions of Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips, as well as the roster and payroll flexibility created tonight will move us closer to that goal. I mean, I hope this is the... But here's the thing. Actions speak louder than words, so I really hope Jerry Dipoto does have a plan to bring in like the Shohei Otanis, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell. Like, this trade alone should guarantee us to get Blake Snell, because Blake Snell openly says he wants to come to Seattle. He really wants to be here. So let's sign someone that wants to be here. Other comments. Kelenic, one of our best outfielders in the past 20 years, in my opinion. We got rid of him for some mid prospects. I mean, you're not wrong. And this other guy, 27 years old. Why? Well, Julio isn't a clutch hitter either. We don't want him gone. Yeah, Julio's not that clutch at all. Sounds like they had to throw in Kelenic to get the break. Yeah, that's what it was. It really was. And maybe Cody Bellinger takes over for that. Outfield is weak now. He is good defensively. He was a great defensive player. That is absolutely there. But now, starting outfield seems to be Cade Marlowe, Julio Rodriguez, and now Dominic Canzone. That is not an outfield that I would want for a World Series winning team. Dipoto indicated that the Mariners intended to be industrious with payroll flexibility, and that's tonight's trade freed up. We do intend to go out and put some immediate... Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's the case. Now, let's reflect on like Marco Gonzalez. So Marco Gonzalez, where the Mariners traded away Tyler O'Neill, who he is doing pretty okay. Let me look up Tyler O'Neill, and that's who the Mariners traded. And I said that was a horrible trade too, because I actually like Tyler O'Neill as a prospect. But he hasn't really been doing much because of the injuries. But he had a fantastic 2021 season, so I guess the trade is maybe it's probably an offset at this point. But Marco Gonzalez, let's go over how he did for the Mariners. I mean, Marco Gonzalez, he wasn't the best player, the pitcher the Mariners had. He was a number one at some point. He was the number one starter from 2019, and it went going into 2021. That's what I believe. But he had a great 2020 season. He started showing signs in 2018 when he had 29 starts. Actually did pretty well, considering that Felix Hernandez was awful. 2019, he was 16-13, considering the Mariners were tanking that season. He was actually one of our better pitchers as well. 2020, during the pandemic year, he was sensational. 7-2, 3.10 ERA, 64 strikeouts to just 7 walks. So he had an insane good season. And then 2021 was when he started to fall apart, along with 2022 when he lost 15 games. This year he went 4-1, but he had that injury and he still gave up a lot of runs, gave up 5 home runs. His splits weren't good with the walks and the strikeouts. So that was Marco Gonzalez. And now I want to go to Evan White, and let's reflect on that kid. Evan White was supposed to be one of the rising stars, and he was about 24 in his rookie year. In his rookie year, in the pandemic season, he had, in 54 games, he batted a .176, had an abysmal on-base percentage, but he was a Gold Glover. He was 84 strikeouts, 18. Not good. If you go into 100 games with that, you're easily getting close to 200 strikeouts with that. 8 home runs and 26 RBIs. Like, he showed power in his bat, but oh man. And then the next year, he played a very injured-riddled season, and it seemed like maybe he was going to turn it around this year, at least in the minor leagues, but he didn't really do much at all. 2022, he didn't really do much better either. Only 7 home runs, 16 RBIs in 28 games. I guess that makes it okay. He did hit the home runs in so little time, but then he barely played in 2023. So he was pretty much a dud at that point. And he's getting close to 30. So I guess good for the Mariners getting out of that contract. I'm so sad, so enjoy some money. Thanks for the donation, buddy. Thanks, Chris. Yep, you did throw up, didn't you, Ryan? That tweet was from Kramer just now, huh? Julio is a 279 hitter after 2 years, not 203 like Kelenic. There's a world of difference. Yeah, but in clutch situations, it's still a thing. Like, and I actually do believe that Jared Kelenic was a more clutch hitter than Julio Rodriguez was. Evan could field. Yep, he could hit absolutely nothing. Evan White was our 6th highest paid player. Yeah, I remember when that contract was signed, I was not particularly happy about that. I was like, well, that's a little bit premature, don't you think? And it turned out to be very premature. Now let's take a look at the guys that the Mariners got in return. It was Cole Phillips, minor league prospect, top 10 prospect for the Atlanta Braves, but he still has yet to play a season at all. But maybe if I can look up Cole Phillips's stats in like high school, because he did skip college, it seemed. In his junior season, it looks like Phillips was 9-1 with a 0.88 ERA, 97 strikeouts, and 63.2 innings. He threw a 5-inning perfect game throughout the season. Now let's take a look at. They don't really show anything. I wonder if there's anything in the Baseball Savant that could actually be shown. There's nothing. Now let's take a look at. So yeah, I would expect him to start going into 2023. I would expect him to start at the rookie level of Arizona, and then maybe and if he does well there, he'll be graduated into Modesto. But I don't think he'll even be in Everett at all unless he really rakes it out. Now here's Jackson Kowar in Major League Baseball, 2021, 0-6 with an 11.27 ERA, 0-0, 9.77 ERA, and then 2-0, but with a 6.43 ERA. So I guess he showed some kind of improvement. No. Taking a look at his pitching stats, it doesn't look good at all. Now let's look at his strikeouts to walk differential. 29 strikeouts. Wait, is this even the right Jackson Kowar I'm even looking at? Let me see what through his transactional history. There's not really much of a transaction history at all. All right, Jackson Kowar. I'm pretty sure that's him. I wonder how he ended up in that. He was from Kansas City, it looks like, in 2023, but I could absolutely be wrong. Let's take a look at. It doesn't even have his transactions. Wow. Oh, here it is, transactions. So he was traded by Kansas City on November 17th, 2023 to Atlanta. So that's where he was used to get Jared Kelenic. And now Jackson Kowar, when he was with Kansas City in his last season in Kansas City, 29 strikeouts to 20 walks, 17 strikeouts to 11 in 2022, 29-20. So that is pretty disturbing. And his whip is insanely high. We're talking going into the 2s, and you want to be somewhere close to the 1s and below if possible. Gives up quite a bit of home runs, and his 7 home runs in 9 games. Like, wow. Let's take a look at his Baseball Savant to see if he at least has any good stuff. He only has a fastball, a changeup, and a slider. So he's probably going to be used as like a mid-relief guy to just mop things up. But he's not going to be your closer, and he is absolutely not going to be like a long relief guy. But his fastball velocity goes up to 97, so he does at least have a promising velocity. But his other stuff, like his changeup and his slider, that's all he's got. Like if he had like a fourth kind of thing, if he had like a splitter, then I would have felt a little bit better about that trade. But this was purely just a salary dump, and I guess the Mariners are convinced that Jared Kelenic is pretty much a nobody at this point. Let's see. Oh, new comments are coming in. It still keeps coming in. And also, on top of the comments, if you can hit that donation button as well and get that rolling along, that'd be fantastic. I could see Atlanta dealing Evan White this offseason. No way. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, who's going to pick him up? Maybe the Oakland A's will pick him up. Hey, Oakland's probably looking for a first baseman at this point. This downfall could be worse than the A's. Okay, come on, Riley. Let's not get a little bit too dramatic, shall we? Marco, our third highest paid player. We're so lucky. Yeah. I mean, I like the way you're seeing it reflect the sun. Like, I think most of the reason why people don't like this trade is because many people were hoping that Jared Kelenic could actually be the guy to be our starting left fielder and a future all-star, and he was on his way. Had potential, very high upside, but the attitudes, high strikeout rate, that's why the Mariners traded him. And he was probably an easy player in an objective standpoint to trade away in order to get Marco Gonzalez and Evan White off the books, because at this point they were just albatross contracts. So I guess they were not exactly winning, but just giving up Jared Kelenic is just tough. I heard the prospect is currently out with a Tommy John. Wow. Let me take a look at that. Cole Phillips, Tommy John. Wonder if it said anything about Tommy John surgeries. So Phillips underwent Tommy John surgery in spring of 2022 before he was even selected, hence why his value went down. So it looks like he was a highly coveted prospect. He was going to be, but then because of that Tommy John surgery, it just decreased his value. He's lucky he even did get drafted. Prior to his procedure, the 20-year-old touched triple digits with his fastball. So he was a 100-mile-an-hour guy, and it's fair to think that he could do so again with his recovery process goes so smoothly. It's not clear where he currently stands in his rehab, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him return to the mound and make his major league debut in early 2024. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now to think about it, this really is a salary dump of a trade, because the Mariners not only traded for a very unproven bullpen pitcher with, yes, a velocity of up to 97, and maybe he could just make it out of it, but also you got someone with Tommy John, so you are taking on an injury-riddled player, which the Mariners did the same thing when they got Brian Wu, and he was also a highly touted prospect, but unfortunately the injuries got to him, so that's why his value went down, and the Mariners took advantage of it, I guess. And Brian Wu has turned out to be at least a decent starter, but I still think the Mariners should package him for a trade. Do you think this trade is worse than Adam for Bedard? No, I don't. That's the thing, though. Now, I don't think it is, because this was salary dumps. Mariners, they took on for Eric Bedard. They took on his kind of contract. So I don't think we have to go that dramatic. But if Jared Kelenic goes off and we get nothing out of it, then it looks really bad. And I do think that Jared Kelenic still has a chance to be a solid player in Major League Baseball, because usually it could be a bit easier to hit than the National League as well. More hitters parks, especially when you can be playing in Chicago. But it doesn't really matter right now because everyone's playing against each other anyway in Major League Baseball. Josh Green, hey man, as a Braves fan, what kind of potential are we getting out of Kelenic? I know he was a big prospect, but the Mariners see it. We did see a lot of potential. To answer your question, Josh, and some of them have already done it. Jared, he's a very passionate guy, has an insane work ethic. He really works at his game. He loves the game of baseball. He has high amount of talent. He has a great exit velocity with his power and his bat. Plays great defense. And I do think he's a clutch player, but he's a very uptight guy. He beats himself a lot, something that I do a lot on my day jobs. And yeah, Chris is right. Just keep the cooler out. And I do appreciate the Mariner fans filling it in for the Atlanta Braves fans as well. You got Reflect the Sun. He definitely gives it his all, really passionate and trying to control his emotion to get better, but he's really struggled at the plate. That's been his weakness for sure. He has a really high ceiling. I do trust that the Atlanta Braves, they could take care of him. I mean, they do pretty well with developing their offensive players usually. I don't think people like the deal because we can't. I think people don't like the deal because we can't expect them to actually make a corresponding move, I guess. New name, new team name, the Seattle Minor Leaguers. Yeah, I guess so. We're a minor league team for everyone else. Kind of funny how we got Kelenic while dumping salary in the Cano Diaz trade. Then we trade him in another salary dumping move. That's actually true. And I heard the Mariners actually did cover some portion of that Cano contract because that contract did become an albatross once you got to 2018, especially with that steroid scandal. And then he got caught again. I get it, people. Project Kelenic to be an excellent player with some flashes early, but then he really regressed back in his first 2 years with the K's and swings and misses. Insane amount of swing and misses, to say the least. Seattle, yeah, I guess. All I want for Christmas is a new owner, new manager, and new general manager. I agree. At least we're on the same page on something. And now, you know what? Let's reflect on Jared Kelenick's contract. Yeah, excuse me. Jared Kelenic, here's his numbers. Here's the major league numbers. In 2021, and I would show it to you, but you'll probably cringe at it. In 93 games in 2021, he had 14 home runs and 43 RBIs, which you would think, yeah, he'd be on pace for close to 30 home runs if he did play a full season, just based on pace. But here's what's really disturbing. 106 strikeouts to just 36 walks, 181 batting average with a 265 on-base percentage. Not good at all. He had 6 stolen bases, but caught 4 stealing. But I will say this. I just think Jared Kelenic was just misused. They used him as a leadoff hitter, and when you have a leadoff hitter, you want someone that could at least get on base or take at least 10 pitches to strike out. But Jared Kelenic was just swing and miss, strike 3, you're out. That's what he was. So I think that was on Scott's service for not using him properly, where they used him as a lineup leadoff hitter, and I was heavily against that. I didn't think he was someone that you would use as a leadoff hitter. You would use him someone to drive in the runs. Then in 2022, he regressed for even the worse, and he somehow made a playoff spot because at least he had a late stretch in the last week of September, hence why I called him Mr. Late September. 7 home runs, 17 RBIs in 54 games, but at 61 strikeouts and 16 walks. And his on-base percentage actually regressed even worse, and a 141 batting average. Ugh. And now we go into 2023. Now, I want to show you the numbers of how he did in the first 2 months of baseball of 2023. I'm going to go to this. So when you went to the first month, he had 7 home runs, 14 RBIs. He did strike out 28 times, and he did walk 9 times, but he had a 366 on-base percentage and a 308 batting average. That's when we thought he could be at least a shoo-in for an all-star, at least in contention for it. Then in May, here's how he did in... Hold on. Okay. Here's his month in May. 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 7 walks, 39 strikeouts, 250 batting average, but a 304. So that's when he really just started to decline. But at least in the first 2 months of that season, he was still at 277, 333 on base. Okay, so that's a little bit disturbing. Only 10 home runs. And then once you got to, since then, once you get into June, looking at this June numbers, June until the remains, 1 home run, 23 RBIs, 52 games, 65 strikeouts, 25 walks. At least he didn't strike out. His strikeout to walk ratio was meh. Still at a 320 on base percentage, but his production itself just took a really steep decline, unfortunately. At least in September. Let's see how he did in September. 261 with a 370 on base percentage. So he was at least one of the better players to get on base, and his strikeout to walk ratio was actually pretty decent. It was that June and July months that really killed him. I mean, we can even look and see how his numbers were from June to that injury. He had a 214 batting average, but somehow maintained above a 300 on base percentage. Struck out 51 times, 19 RBIs, but only 1 home run. So he didn't really do that much better at all. So that's why they are getting rid of him, because he just couldn't get it to that level. Now let's see if I missed any of you comments. Shane Waldron versus who's hated more? A little bit of apples and oranges, but Jerry DiPoto's getting up there. Ichiro's a manager? Absolutely not. He has no leadership skills. When Nintendo was our owner, we were doing better. Ironically so, as it seems. It seems that we're worse with John Stanton, I guess. And Nintendo was bad. But don't forget, Mariners under Nintendo did get lucky with insane generational talent. Like you had Ken Griffey Jr., you had Edgar Martinez, Alex Rodriguez, Jay Buhner, and then Ichiro eventually, Brett Boone, and Jamie Moyer. Like, they got insanely lucky. I think if you had Nintendo today, results would be about the same, to be honest. Kelenic is going to the White Sox for Dylan Cease. Book it. You hate how MLB has shifted to hailing 230, 30 home runs as amazing players. Yeah. I do miss the good old days too, when you could hit for average and power. Standards have really gone down. If you win the lottery, you'll buy the Mariners and actually be a good owner. Yeah, if there's a lottery ticket that can be worth in the billions, good luck. You're more likely to get struck by lightning, and you're more likely to see the Mariners not even make the playoffs at all for the next 50 years than you winning that lotto ticket. And if anything, you know what? Just do what I do. Maybe you make a YouTube channel for yourself, become some kind of influencer, make lots of money off of that. I mean, even Mr. Beast, he can't even afford the Seattle Mariners himself. I mean, let me see how much Mr. Beast is worth. And don't forget, net worth is not money in your bank account. That's just your assets. His net worth is $500 million. So with that worth and those assets, if he were to sell off all those assets, he would not be able to afford the Mariners. Zunino would do that. Have a month or two, then disappear again. Maybe I'm scared still from all that hope for him. Yep. Scarred. Yeah. I don't blame you, because Mike Zunino he's a guy of great power, but the man struck out an insane amount of times. Like, I mean, let me just reminisce his numbers too. Like, they were really bad. Mike Zunino's about 32 years old. He hasn't really done anything since his All-Star season in 2021, when he hit 33 home runs, 62 RBIs, but his strikeout to walk ratio is just insanely disturbing. But hey, Eugenio Suarez and Teoscar Hernandez took it to the next level. And speak of, I guess I would like to see how bad it all was in terms of strikeouts, which the Mariners really do need to bring that down, because they had an insane amount of strikeout players. Let's take a look at it. Cal Raleigh, he struck out 158 times with a 306 on base percentage, 54 walks. Ty France, somehow with his down year, still had a 337 on base percentage, batted 250, and that's considered okay these days. But at least he had 32 doubles, I guess. But don't forget, he did go through an injury. And then my friend Couch GM, he does claim that he is due for a re-breakout season, because he has been working in his game. And some will say that this season could be his outlier, because he was dealing with the injury since 2022. But he's got to put up or shut up on that part. Once again, actions speak louder than words. J.P. Crawford, although he struck out 125 times, But don't forget, those strikeouts took a long time to get. It was like 10 plus pitches or so just to get him to strike out. So those were at least, some of those strikeouts were at least quality strikeouts. 94 walks with a 380 on base percentage. Pretty dang good. JP Crawford absolutely had a much better season than he did last season. Eugenio Suarez, 323 on base percentage, walked 70 times, but 214 strikeouts. That's kind of contributes why the Mariners traded him. Jared Kelenic struck out 132 times still, and if you put him in 162 games, that's still close to 200. Julio Rodriguez struck out 175 times. On base percentage was 333. Didn't really walk much, but the man just kept hacking so much. His strikeouts actually increased by a lot, but he did play more games, so he had more of a full season. Teoscar Hernandez, his numbers are cringe. Like, although his 26 home runs and 93 RBIs do look good on paper, 29 doubles or so, but a 305 on base percentage, which is something you don't want to be. 211 strikeouts to a 38 walk ratio. Mike Ford also, he struck out quite a bit in 83 games. If he played 162 games somehow, he's striking out more than 150 times for sure. Yeah, he hit the long ball there and there, but the guy was basically a tank. He was the F-350 for a reason. And yeah. Let's see if I missed out any more comments. Marshawn Lynch is the part owner of the Kraken. Marshawn Lynch being a Mariners owner would be goofy. Hey, Marshawn, are we going to get Shohei Ohtani? Thanks for asking. What do you think of this trade? Yeah. How do you feel about the Mariners making the playoffs? I'm thankful. Yeah. Marshawn, how's your stomach? I appreciate you asking about my stomach. Looks like instead of trying to win 54% of the time, they're trying to win 54 games next year. Oh, these Mariner fans I have, they continue to not disappoint. Suarez struck out more than most starting pitchers had Ks. That is true. That is disturbingly true. It really is. Man, still got 10 viewers so far, so if you guys can and willing to, donate to that. Give me some money. Hope I'm providing you the value of this channel so far. And also, I have a quick announcement. Might as well just throw it out there, but I'll have a very special show on Tuesday where I have the Couch GM. I got Jay Trident Podcast. They will be with me on Tuesday at 6 p.m. So be ready for that. And luckily, thanks to Jerry DePoto and Justin Hollander, they gave me plenty to talk about. But let's take a look at the Mariners depth chart, shall we? Mariners depth chart. Let's take a look and see where we're at. And might as well just... Ready, set, actions, commentary. Mariners will have Julio, Alzarena, and Bellinger in the lineup. Very wishful thinking. Does that also include getting Shohei Ohtani and Blake Snell? We better get all of them. Let's just absorb every single one of them, because if we've already saved up almost $40 million in payroll or so, if you put in Eugenio Suarez, or maybe more like $30 million, anything's possible. But let's take a look at that Mariners depth chart. Here it is, and I hope you can read it. And I'll go through it right now. For the starting rotation, here's what we've got so far. I wonder if they're doing it as the depth chart. So we got Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, Emerson Hancock, Robbie Ray. Hopefully Robbie Ray will be healthy by then. Emerson Hancock, hopefully he's healthy as well. He was a very high draft pick, and now he's looking like a bust so far because the man's got injury problems. But we've got Brian Wu and Bryce Miller, and I believe two of those can easily be packaged for someone in the offensive end. Like, if you get Blake Snell, that will really provide some flexibility to package Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, who have really good value, in my opinion. Now, they are a bit raw, but I do think that Mariners should try to take an opportunity if they get Blake Snell or any good starters, maybe find a way to package those guys into a quality offensive player. Here's the bullpen we've got. Perlander Baroa, Trent Thornton, who I didn't really like that much. Gabe Spire was okay. Taylor Saucedo was decent. Justin Topa, Matt Brash, Andres Munoz. I still want a closer out of that, though. Still really want that closer. And right now, our only catcher is Cal Raleigh. The other guys are just prospects. Ish, and the guy that we got out of the Eugenio Suarez trade, I'm really going to miss Tom Murphy. I think Tom Murphy is going to be a bigger loss than what anyone would think. First base, Ty France and Dylan Moore. I don't really like that either. Dylan Moore being a backup first baseman. I think we need another first baseman to give Ty France a run for his money. Maybe at least a lefty first baseman. Maybe that's good. Wishful thinking. Second base, I actually think we're set. I think we can ride it with Josh Rojas and Luis Urias, maybe as platoon guys, but I don't think that's going to happen considering that we got rid of Eugenio Suarez, and then the shortstop got J.P. Crawford, which fine. Left field now. This is going to be fun. You got Dominic Canzone, Sam Haggerty. You got Julio Rodriguez, the center field, obviously. And right field, Sam Haggerty. Doesn't even put in Cade Marlowe in that equation. So you're not going to... That outfield's very thin. You're not going to depend... you're not going to depend on Dominic Canzone and Cade Marlowe to be your starters, are you? I don't think I would. Not a chance in the freaking world. I mean, I'm taking a look at Dominic Canzone, who the Mariners got out of the Paul Sewald trade, and he really better pan out. Cade Marlowe in 34 games, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. At least had 4 stolen bases. Got on base decent. But he really just fell apart in that month of September. August, he was at least decent somewhat. Dominic Canzone hit 5 home runs in 44 games with the Mariners. So if you put that 80, that's 10. And then another 60, that he's maybe a 20-ish home run hitter. But his walk to strikeout ratio is very disturbing. A 248 OBP on base percentage. 11 doubles in 44 games. No. I mean, he's a bit raw. But 25 years old, he really should figure it out by then. Man, look at that. Look at what we've got. Snell will be in the rotation. You better be right. Also just wrapped up the Home Alone podcast tonight. Good job. I hope you got some... How many views did you get on that Ready, Set, Action commentaries? And also, if you have the opportunity, go to Ready, Set, Action's commentary, go to his YouTube, and subscribe to it. Wu, Miller, and Hancock will be part of that Juan Soto trade. Wishful thinking on that one. I think you have to package someone in the offense. I think if you're going to get Juan Soto, I would think at least Cole Young or Harry Ford would at least be in the conversation. So you got to consider that, because you're not going to just give up. I don't think you can just get pitchers, just get Juan Soto. I don't think that's happening. I think the Padres would be asking for Lazaro Montez, Cole Young. We're talking about those guys. And Harry Ford. Maybe Harry Ford will get an opportunity for next season. Now, let's take a look and see what Harry Ford's ETA is. Taking a look at Harry Ford. What is his ETA as of now? Trying to figure that out. Top Mariners prospect, going to that. Show the whole freaking list. Here's what we got. So for Harry Ford, his ETA is 2025. Don't forget, he's only 20 years old. So, and he's also an Everett only. So I would think maybe Cole Young and Harry Ford, they'll start in Double-A at best next season, depending how they perform at spring training. Yeah, so he's a bit ways to go. We have Sebi Zavala. Yeah. He's going to be our savior, isn't he? He's our Mariners catcher. He'll do great things. Yeah, he's our savior, that's for sure. Bellinger scares me given his 2020, 21, 22 seasons. Any idea what happened to him? That's a strange case on what happened to Cody Bellinger. I mean, I'm gonna look up some articles and see what like contributed to his struggles. I do have a friend who's a Dodgers fan. He would definitely have some insight on that. They said it was his injuries and his regression. So here's what happened. So Bellinger, who repeatedly injured his right shoulder by diving for ground balls throughout his professional baseball career, underwent surgery for the affected arm in November 2020. He revealed that while celebrating the NLCS game-winning home run that October, he had dislocated his shoulder by connecting too strongly with his teammate Enrique Hernandez's arm. Bellinger's recovery from the arthroscopic labrum surgery progressed ahead of schedule. He was able to join the Dodgers for the 2021 spring training, so it looks like he was rushed. He suffered some serious injury on April 6th after colliding with Oakland Athletics pitcher Ramin Gooden. Bellinger was initially placed on a 10-day, and then he returned on the 29th. He completely struggled. I guess it was really just the injuries that really got to him. And then on December 14th, 2022, Bellinger signed a 1-year contract with a mutual option for 2024 with the Cubs. And now you're thinking about looking back on it. We really do wish the Mariners did do that same exact thing to Cody Bellinger and could have prevented that trade for Teoscar Hernandez, which costed us Eric Swanson. But he played fantastic throughout that entire season. Originally, yeah, he was not really much known to be a power hitter, but he became a power hitter pretty quickly. Now I want to look at Cody Bellinger's numbers. But yeah, it's to conclude that Cody Bellinger's injuries just really got to him. He just wasn't the same because he missed nearly half of the season of 2021. Let's look at his numbers. In 132 games, he had 39 home runs, 97 RBIs, and that was his rookie year at the age of 20 freaking 1. 2022, 25 home runs, 76 RBIs, but the guy strikes out quite a bit. 2019, he was fantastic. 47 home runs, 115 RBIs, 15 stolen bases, a 406 on base percentage, 108 strikeouts, yes, but he made it up with 95 walks. And then here was, in 2020, he was fantastic as well. Well, 239 batting average, though. But then here was his 2021 season. In 95 games, 10 home runs, 36 RBIs, 165 batting average, 240 on base percentage, and that struggle seemed to have carried into 2022. But then 2023, he had 26 home runs, 97 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, batted 307 with a 356 on base percentage. So he really did improve. So maybe he is out of that injury problem, that injury bug. Hopefully he's not just overachieving for a new contract. But just don't forget, as much as I would love Cody Bellinger on the Mariners, don't forget as well, his agent is Scott Boras. So Scott Boras will maybe make things difficult for the Mariners. Kobe from Locked On Mariners can play backup catcher. What about me? I can play backup catcher, I think. No way. Marlowe can't hit AAA pitching. Yeah, he can't. Let's see what's next. We did hire the coach from the Marlins that worked with Cody when he really had that good year. So yeah, maybe he'll make that kind of a difference. And that's why I wanted to keep Jared Kelenic, because maybe a coach like him could get Jared Kelenic going. So there's a missed opportunity there. I didn't know that. A nice bounce back last year, but if they sign him, make it a very short-term deal. How do you hit 165? And again, it's the injuries. Will Greg just got off work and saw that trade. Yeah, you did. Feels like we're the New York Jets of baseball. Yeah, you're not wrong. But we didn't have a manager that like ghosted the Jets pretty much and did what did some for the Patriots. No, I am not a third baseman. I'm actually an outfielder and pitcher in the game of softball. And when I played Little League Baseball, I was actually a second baseman. Now, you know what? Just for that, and I think I have about 10 minutes, so I think I'm going to account to the fact that I do have 10 minutes. So, yeah, 10 minutes, guys. That's what I have. But I'm going to show some of my softball highlights of so far. So I'm going to go to that right now. If I can find it. Softball highlights from the 24th of August. I also had a bad day that day. It was a long story. Nobody knows about it. But yeah, here's some of my softball highlights that you may guys want to see. I'm willing to show it right here, right now. Yeah, that's me. Take a look at that softball highlight. But yeah, while you're watching that, if the owner doesn't seem to give a crap about the team, do they really expect the majority of fans to stick with it? I mean, yeah, we've got delusion. I mean, a lot of Mariner fans are a bunch of apologists, and they make these excuses, so I think they're still going to be around anyway. Yeah, that's my highlights in softball, if you're wondering. I put that on my YouTube channel for a reason.
Yeah!
So yeah, I'm a pitcher. I don't have any defensive highlights though, unfortunately. I got that one. I flip bats, you know. So yeah, that's me. But hopefully, with only about maybe 8 minutes left, maybe I'll even end it early. But another request I have is go ahead and make those donations too. Let's get this channel growing as much as we possibly can. But yeah, bottom line about this trade, what it was really about, it was about getting rid of Marco Gonzalez, and also getting rid of Evan White, because they had albatross of contracts. But just giving up Jared Kelenic was tough, because I still actually believe that he could have been a star in this league. Yes, he's streaky. Yes, he kicked the cooler. Yes, the attitude is not great, because I remember I did see him in a AAA baseball game. Like, when he struck out, he actually chucked his bat in the dugout. And I guess his attitude kind of just played a role on my... But also, what I didn't like at the end of this season of 2023, I didn't like that the Mariners kind of limited his playing time and just used Dylan Moore and Sam Haggerty over them because of matchups, which I thought was an absolute idiotic move by Scott Service. So unfortunately, he's still the manager. Unfortunately, he's still the manager. But yeah, about maybe 6 minutes left on this show. If anyone's got any questions to throw in, why don't you throw those questions in when you can about the Mariners? With Bellinger adjustments he made, I think he might be a good choice and worth the risk. I agree. Like, the dream is get Ohtani, get Bellinger, and get Blake Snell. Get every single one of them. Because here are the holes the Mariners have. We have... Let's take a look at it. So, catcher, Cal Raleigh, but we need a... There's no clear if we have a good backup catcher. Like, going from Tom Murphy to Sebi or whatever his name is, that seems like a downgrade to me. So I think the catcher still have somewhat of a hole, because if you have Cal Raleigh out, you're screwed. Because Cal Raleigh is a great player for us. First base. And don't forget, the Mariners could trade away Cal Raleigh. That could happen, knowing that he may have hurt John Stanton's feelings. First base, Ty France. I mean, I guess the Mariners are going to keep going with him going forward. So maybe I do expect the Mariners to still stay with him. Still have my doubts on that. Second base, you got Josh Rojas and maybe possibly a platoon of him and Luis Urias. I mean, Luis Urias was a decent player as well, but the injuries, he hasn't been the same since. Shortstop J.P. Crawford, you got him. Third base, I just don't want to use Luis Urias as a third baseman, though. I do think the Mariners should go out and get someone, but who do the Mariners can get at third base? I don't know. But they got to figure it out. Left field and right field have major holes. You're not going to depend on Dominic Canzone and Cade Marlowe to get the job done. So you got to get Cody Bellinger. You absolutely got to get Cody Bellinger. And yep, that was a little bit of a... Okay, where are we at? Oh, wow, I missed quite a bit of comments. Seattle will do something to make them a feared force of the AOS. And they will hopefully they'll do something to make you hate them more. We trade Trent Thornton and Scott for a bag of chips. Trips. How much wood could chuck a woodchuck as a Mariner? Huh. I don't know why, but I can feel it happening. Why don't you explain more about that, Hannah? Ohtani is a pipe dream. Dude is about to be 30 years old. Throws and hits. Won't pitch this year, which I'm okay with. We need an upgrade on DH anyway, which also has a hole, which I forgot to bring up. Last time we gave him a 30-year-old Robinson Cano. Okay, Robinson Cano actually was worth the contract. It's just that the Mariners did nothing else with it other than signing Nelson Cruz, and we added absolutely no pitching at all, which is why Felix Hernandez got burned out. Is there any justification for expecting some kind of big moves? Yamamoto, Ohtani, Ozarina? I don't know. But I think Yamamoto maybe will be the backup in case they don't get Blake Snell. Because I do think Blake Snell should get that priority. But if you're Blake Snell, I will warn you this. You're going to hate Scott Service because he will not let you pitch above 7 innings. Just want to warn that to you because I know you had your moment in Game 6 of the 2020 World Series where you were not even allowed to go beyond 6 innings. Might want to consider that. Mariners won't throw 500. Yeah, they won't, unfortunately. They've been linked to Isaac Paradis. Can't even pronounce that name correctly, but let me take a look at that guy. And honestly, I'm having so much fun that I almost want to go beyond an hour. I'm so glad that I jumped into the show. I feel like I jumped it almost at the perfect time. Isaac Paradis, 31 home runs, batting .250. He would basically replace Eugenio Suarez. He's a young man. 31 home runs, 98 RBIs, does strike out a lot, but he does make it up with the walk somewhat. He was traded in 2022 by the Detroit Tigers, so it looks like the Mariners are the Detroit. He was with Chicago too, but it seems that Detroit, they did nothing with him. They really messed up, and then Tampa Bay took advantage of it. Let's take a look at his contract and see where he's at in terms of contract. Oh yeah, Mariners should definitely try to take a look at him, but the question is, Tampa Bay's probably going to ask a lot to get him because he still has somewhat of club control, and he could be a free agent as early as 2028. So, yeah, I think that would be a very attractive option for the Mariners. Ty France, yeah, we know that. And Kent, who helped J.P. Crawford make the adjustments, look what he did. We can only hope. Rutrow, the glitch in the Matrix? I guess so. Oh, wait, I am so behind in these comments. I don't know about the Paradis. He has a lower bat speed than Gino did, but he's still a young man, so maybe the upside helps. And we don't need him to necessarily be the home run hitter. We just need him to, just not strike out too much. Really just traded Jared Kelenic for a half-open bag of chips and a flat can of Coke. Again, this. I know you just jumped into this show, and I'm already over my hour time, but you guys are just making it so much fun. But that Jared Kelenic, if it wasn't for Jared Kelenic, Marco Gonzalez and Evan White, that trade does not happen. So it was basically, it was a salary dump trade to maybe hope that the Mariners turn one of those, that bullpen pitcher who's not good at all, maybe make him into something. But I don't like his stuff at all. Just a slider and a changeup just doesn't make me feel that confident at all. Maybe the Mariners will make something out of it. Maybe I'll look up Taylor Saucedo. Yeah, he's very forgettable. Okay, Paul Sewald. Let's take a look at Paul Sewald, shall we? If it even lets me. Okay, Paul Sewald. Let's take a look at his stuff. He just has a fastball and a slider. I guess he made it work, so I guess they do like the fastball, the changeup, and the slider. So maybe that's why they're going for him, because he has good exit fastball velocity. I mean, Paul Sewald was only a 94 at the very most. Let's take a look at Kendall Graveman, which I really did like. I really miss Kendall Graveman a lot. I thought he was a fantastic pitcher for the Mariners. Like, he should have been an all-star, and it's a crime that he wasn't. His fastball velo is only 83, but he's got a fastball, a changeup, a slider, and a curveball. So he really does have good stuff. You bring up good points. Trout on his massive contract and injuries hasn't been worth it. Yamamoto's potential is so crazy. The ceiling is so high. So we'll have to see. Hopefully the Mariners go for him too. Seattle can't just be trading away decent talent and sending them to warm other teams' benches just to get nothing. Another bench's warmers in return. Yeah. Blake Snell is preaching to the Mariners that he wants to pitch there. He could give them the hometown discount. He wants it badly. And hopefully this trade does get them over the edge for him. But I will say this. If the Mariners do just get Blake Snell and just leave it at that, it's a failure. I know this isn't a Mariners question, but should the Seahawks draft Penix or Jaden Daniels? I'm more interested in Bo Nix, but don't forget, Ducks quarterbacks don't really do that great either. Let me look at Jaden Daniels. LSU, I think he's got some legs. Let me take a look at his stats. He's a 6'4" guy. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Yeah. I'll look at his rushing. He does run quite a bit, so I think Jaden Daniels could be a good fit, but you have to also consider where he's going to be drafted. And now you're getting me into the NFL. 2024 NFL mock draft. And there was a pretty... Walter Football, I thought, was a pretty good website for it. They... Great. I can't even access Walter Football. All right. Caleb Williams is the projected #1 pick. Let's take a look and see where the quarterbacks would be. I can't believe you got me to change the subject. I wonder if Jaden Daniels will even be in that range. It looks like he still might be in that range, so maybe the Seahawks can draft him if it's right. Jaden Daniels is 19, though, so the Falcons may take a look at him. I wonder what Desmond Ridder was all about. Can't believe you guys got me to... Someone got me to change the subject. Desmond Ridder was... What was his draft position? He was a 3rd-round pick. Ugh. I think that looks like the Seahawks can potentially get Bo Nix somewhere. Let me look at quarterbacks. And then I'm going to go right back to Mariners baseball. '24 NFL mock draft quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is potential #1. Then there's Drake May of North Carolina. I am not touching on North Carolina. Bo Nix is projected #17. Then Jaden Daniels, 23. Michael Penix, so maybe the Seahawks can do it. Maybe it's possible. Who knows? They traded him to Tampa for Austin Meadows. Yeah, they did. Blake Snell doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He does. I don't think. Yeah, who knows? But he still wants to come to Seattle. Mariners trade Wu, Hancock, and 2 top 10 prospects for Ozarena and Alzik. Wouldn't be upset with it. But if the question is, who would those 2 top 10 prospects be? So work with me on that, Ready Set Actions commentary. Maybe you can join this show if you want to. Maybe just give me a holler and maybe you can just talk about it, although you may dominate this entire show, though. I thought I'd just give you a hard time on that one. But if you look at the Mariners' top prospects, I mean, would they ask for Cole Young, Harry Ford, Gabriel Gonzalez, Colt Emerson, Michael Arroyo, Emerson Hancock, Felnine Celestine, who I don't want to give up, Jonathan Clase, Johnny Farmello, and Ty Pete? Who would you be willing to give up on those out of those 10? What do you think? Who do you think on those are going to get it done? Penix will cook if he has a decent O-line, but Daniels fit. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, as much as people like Michael Penix, he has absolutely no feet. They shouldn't draft Daniels. Yeah, Ryan, why do you say so? This season proved exactly why 12. Yeah, well, 2017 proved. Yeah, it did. I guess so. Taylor Saucedo was streaming Spider-Man when that trade happened and learned about it from his chat cursing out Stanton. What? What? I gotta take a look at this. Taylor. If I can't even. I can't even find him. If I can just find his Twitter. I thought I've had his Twitter somewhere. Taylor Saucedo Twitter. Well, it's X. All right, I think I found it. What did he say? No, nothing. I got nothing. I would expect Mike Trout to retire before going on another team. Yeah, I would too. As a Husky fan, I don't want Bo Nix. He's a check down master. I guess so. Mariners' successful offseason would be Ozarena and Paredes, Bellinger, Blake Snell, Dunn, and Ohtani. Problem with Soto, though, his agent Scott Boras. That's why I'm scared of it. You have to be willing. You have to be able to see if you can pluck up the money. The last mock draft I saw had Jaden Daniels going to the Seahawks. Possible. Desmond Ridder is not a good NFL quarterback. No. Texas Gridiron. Okay. It was on Twitch. I guess so. I would like to see that. Ready, set, action commentaries. We have to keep Wu IMO, but Hancock, that's fine. Watch the Mariners Mojo stream. Watch Mariners Mojo stream. They have it on their YouTube. Wait, what? The Twitch? Okay, I'm going to go to this Twitch. All right, you guys had me doing this. This is why I love you guys. Daniels fits the offense better, and his stats are insane. Some of his stats are approaching Joe Burrow levels. Yeah, I would not be opposed to that because he would definitely fit this offense. Towards the end of the stream. All right, we're gonna go find this. Saucio 7. There's ads for his Twitch, I guess. Taylor currently isn't making statements. Those ads are going on for quite a bit. Towards the end of the stream, if you go to his videos, Okay, I gotta find it. If you guys can help me, that would be appreciated. Was it like on a last video or something? You can watch the beginning if you go to his videos. Gonna figure this out somehow, some way. Videos. So I guess this was 2 hours ago. Towards the end of the stream. If you guys can help me, what time was it at exactly? I think it was the beginning, huh? I wonder if I get copyright strike with this one, though. Okay, I'm gonna dang the consequences.
When I logged on.
I think I found it.
Oh man. Oh man, bro.
I hope I don't get copyright strike for this.
This was a bad idea. Honestly, timing's never really great. Oh God. Guys, fill me in. What happened? You guys tell me. So we don't care about Spider-Man. All right.
Of course we don't. We only care about what happened with this trade. Ryan, you sent me $20? What are you doing? I mean, I'll take it, but what the hell?
Oh, dude.
I'll take it. Thanks, bro.
Really?
If anyone else would like to
That's
throw
what
the
happened.
donations, that'd be amazing. I'm gonna take a look at the Mariners mojo on my end.
Oh my God.
I guess they finished streaming a long time ago.
I didn't even know this many people had my my Twitch.
They're not even live right now, I think.
I mean, to be honest with you, I did see the news.
He really
And
did want to play Spider-Man. I was gonna play Grand
I
Theft
wasn't gonna
Auto, and this
post that I was
happened.
on Twitch. I was just gonna sign on, but I guess everybody else thought it was a good time to come in here and be like, "Hey, here's how I feel right now." So, all right. I mean, what do you guys want me to say? You know? I mean, if you got to get it out, get it out. You know? I don't know. I guess like if you guys just want to rant, you guys should go ahead and rant. I'm gonna just play some Spider-Man. I'm gonna swing some webs.
I love
take
it.
down some
I
bad
love Taylor
guys.
Saucedo. He's starting to become one of my favorite bullpen
That's what
pitchers.
we're
He's
gonna
very
do.
engaging with the social media world.
Oh my god.
So it was that was his reaction, I guess. I'm trying to get Mike on the show really quick. Man, this has been going on a lot longer than I would have anticipated. I said I was going to go for about an hour, but that ain't the freaking case anymore because you guys are keeping me on here. And you know what? I appreciate that so much. So yeah, keep me on here as much as you possibly can. I mean, I was going to play some freaking Grand Theft Auto with some buddies, but they're going to have to wait. I'm going to say but yeah, still waiting on my friend Mike too. Yeah, I'm going to let Mike on this show just to someone said call Jerry on stream. I was going to play Football Manager and ultimately ended up here. How are you doing, buddy?
What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, we are in shock of the trade. We spent an hour and 17 minutes literally dissecting the living crap out of this trade. Like, I have mixed feelings. For me personally, that trade was to basically get rid of Marco and Evan White, and the only way that the Braves were willing to do it was like, give me your rising star, Jared Kelenic, from April and May, and we have a deal, and that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, this really is a bombshell because I know so many people were calling for Jared Kelenic to be off this team, but I don't understand why there was so much unnatural hate for him. And I say that in a good way because, well, I don't know if there's a good way or a bad way to say it, but Kelenic was good. I mean, we saw it in this past year. He was showing those signs, and I'm really going to miss him. I'm really going to miss him because I think we saw the mature Jared Kelenic this year. Yes, I get it. The whole kicking of the cooler thing, breaking his foot, fracturing it. I get it. But people don't understand something. Jared Kelenic is a very passionate player. I have no issues with passionate players at all. But it is just going to be sad seeing Jared Kelenic not wearing Mariners teal, not hearing Country Roads at T-Mobile Park anymore. But I am happy. I will say this. I'm happy that Jared Kelenic has a chance to win a World Series now. I'm really happy for that. By the way, this is my second podcast of the night. I wrapped up, for everybody out there, I wrapped up another show just about I want to say about an hour and a half ago. Did the Home Alone podcast. And as you guys can tell, my voice is shot. It's been shot for a while, but I mentioned earlier that the Mariners should trade Brian Wu or Emerson Hancock to get more players. And, you know, a lot of people are very high on Brian Wu. You know, I get it. A lot of people are very high on Brian Wu. I like him. I actually do like Brian Wu a lot better than I like Bryce Miller. So I'm thinking maybe Bryce Miller should be part of the Randy Arozarena trade. Because look, if you want Isaac Paredes and Randy Arozarena, and by the way, it's Arozarena. Yeah, I've been hearing you of how you pronounce Randy Arozarena's last name all night. It's absolutely. I'm not going to cuss on here. You don't like me to cuss, but it's flipping annoying. Okay, it is absolutely annoying. But you know, I'm saying that if you can get Randy Arozarena and Isaac Paredes in a trade, then I think the Mariners could give up one of the top prospects, actually, because I'm thinking that you throw in Emerson Hancock, Bryce Miller, and Jonathan Clase. I say Jonathan Clase, and I think you do it because Jonathan Clase, I see from this, his ETA is next year. Now, one or two prospects that I believe, well, actually, in the top 10 prospects, I think there should be 3 untouchable prospects in the top 10 for the Mariners. One of which is Harry Ford. Harry Ford is undoubtedly untouchable. I'm really surprised that he is not the number 1 prospect for the Mariners. I do like Cole Young, though. Cole Young is also the other untouchable prospect. And you're going to think I'm crazy for this. I think Ty Pete is the other untouchables. So Ty Pete, Harry Ford, and Cole Young. Because Cole Young can play second base. Let's see from right there. You move Ty Pete to play third base. Easily move those guys around. Harry Ford has also been seen to play third base as well. So you never know. You never know what we're gonna see from that. But no, I think Johnny Farmello is definitely also one of those prospects that you can definitely trade away. But with getting Randy Arozarena and Isaac Paredes, if you want to do both of those guys, you're gonna have to package Emerson Hancock. You're gonna have to package Bryce Miller, and I think if you don't want to give it too much, I'm gonna say you're going to send Gabriel Gonzalez out there, number 3 ranked prospect.
GG.
I think that'll do it. I think that'll do it. If not, if it's not Gabriel Gonzalez that does it, then you do Johnny Farmello and Gabriel Gonzalez, and that's it.
Because Gabriel Gonzalez.
And like you said earlier on this podcast about Shohei Ohtani, I'm not really a fan of giving a 30-year-old who both pitches and hits, a $500 to $600 million contract. Look, Shohei Ohtani. Is Shohei Ohtani a unicorn in baseball? Yeah, he is. He's definitely a unicorn. But eventually that unicorn is going to die. And the thing with Shohei Ohtani here in the next, I think, let's say 3 or 4 years, he's got to make the decision. Do you want to pitch or do you want to hit? Because you can't do both. You can't do both for the next 10 years. You just cannot. I do not believe you can do both for 10 years. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Shohei Ohtani is going to end up playing for the San Francisco Giants, the Dodgers, and you're going to think this is even wild, maybe even the Toronto Blue Jays. But I want to say I throw the Blue Jays out there because it's kind of like a wild card. I don't think Shohei Ohtani leaves California. I don't think he does. So it's either going to come down to the Dodgers or the Giants. And I think the Giants have they have the best chance at signing him. But I think Shohei will want to stay in LA and he'll sign with the Dodgers. Because the Dodgers don't care about the luxury tax. They just don't. But this whole Jared Kelenic thing has been very wild because this whole thing was announced during my podcast, and I actually had to. I tried to. Excuse me. I was trying my best to do my podcast while this news is breaking, and as you can tell, my voice is just keep going and going. So I don't know how much time I have left, but no, it really does suck to lose Jared Kelenic because I do feel like that maybe next year he would have been that 250, 260 hitter that you needed. But yeah, it doesn't eliminate the strikeouts. They already said it. They want to eliminate the strikeouts. So I'm fine with it. But the salary dump is good. This is a good sign. This is really a good sign that the Mariners are making trails to go out and sign somebody. One guy that a lot of people have said is Matt Chapman, but he's just a younger version of Eugenio Suarez. And I don't think Matt Chapman is. I don't think Matt Chapman is that guy. I don't think that's not the guy that the Mariners need to sign. But I think if you sign Blake Snell, if you sign Cody Bellinger, if you get Isaac Paredes and Randy Arozarena in a trade, you're done for the offseason. I think you're done for the offseason. Also, I want to throw this out there. Justin Turner is an option. And I do believe that if Justin Turner had gotten a chance to play, I think maybe 3 or 4 seasons before he really got the chance to play, he would have been, possible Hall of Famer. But Justin Turner is a good option for the Mariners to go after. I really believe that. So if we're looking at it, trade for Randy Arozarena. If you don't want to get Isaac Paredes, but if you want to package them, then that's fine. So get Isaac Paredes, Randy Arozarena, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Justin Turner. I think that would be a good offseason for the Mariners. I think that would be a great offseason for the Mariners because that would mean that you have replaced everything that you needed to replace and you got the bats that you needed.
Not to mention replacing 400 plus strikeouts. And I think between Teoscar and Eugenio, it was getting close to 450. And that's something you can't go into next season. But of course, you need to come up with a plan, and hopefully that's what they're in store. And now I wanted to bring up, because when you were bringing up the prospects, the ones I think are untouchable, I mean, the first 2 off the bat, Cole Young and Harry
Ford. No, there we go. Now my voice is back. I think I just need a little bit of water.
I mean, those 2, you cannot trade those.
Those are I think the only way that you really trade those guys is if I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm just going to put this out as just like a hypothetical trade. Okay. It's just a hypothetical trade. If the Phillies were to come to you and say, do you want to take Bryce Harper and we'll take Cole Young and Harry Ford? That's the only way that you trade.
I wouldn't do it.
Both of those guys.
Bryce Harper's up there in age right now. He'll be useless real soon. Other ones I don't want.
Then let's go with this. What if the Dodgers were to come to you and say, hey, we'll trade Mookie Betts to you for Bryce Young and Ty Young, or excuse me, Cole Young and Ty Young, or Ty Pete, excuse me, Ty Pete.
Sure. I don't really care that much about Ty Pete quite yet because I haven't seen enough of him. When I
think I do like what I see from him. I think I do like what I see from just a little bit that I've seen from him.
The other guys I don't want to see traded are Felnin Celestine and Lazar Montez. Now, the only reason why Lazar Montez may be a package guy in the future is because his strikeout rate is insane. It's really, really bad. Yeah,
he definitely is like the Mariners version of Yordan Alvarez, but you're absolutely right when it comes to those strikeouts. Those strikeouts are very big, worrisome.
I mean, Yordan does strike out a bit, but
But he
when I
does.
compare-
But he does get on base though a lot.
He does. He does get on base, but the man strikes out. But when he did this season in Modesto, he did improve a lot. It was just that rookie season where in 56 games, 74 strikeouts, and he still managed a 284 batting average. And if you put that into 162 games, easily 200 strikeouts. I mean, he'd be another Teo or a Eugenio on that kind of strikeout rate.
Yeah, and you don't really need a guy like that. And I also, this is going to sound really weird, but I made a mock draft with one of the Mariners, one of the bigger fans on Instagram, and he liked the idea. But he's like, those strikeouts are definitely a concern. And I stated that, it's no longer apparent now to do it. But I was saying, what if we were to, ironically, what if we were to trade Jared Kelenic and Marco Gonzalez to the Phillies, along with Emerson Hancock for Kyle Schwarber? I mean, that gives you a designated hitter. That gives you 46 home runs, but then it gives you 170 to nearly 200 strikeouts. Not to mention, it gives you one of the weirdest seasons in Major League Baseball history. I want to bring this up. Kyle Schwarber had the strangest seasons of any player I've ever seen. He had a .06 WAR this year. He had 47 home runs, 104 RBIs, scored 108 runs, had a 343 on base percentage, but batted 197. And he was a leadoff hitter. That's the most crazy thing about it, is that the Phillies made him a leadoff hitter.
Was that this season, right?
It was this season, yeah.
Wow. Especially for a guy that strikes out 215 times. He doesn't even steal bases either. Pretty unique.
And yet he was the guy who won free tacos for America last year in the World Series.
Jeez. No, I wouldn't have done that. No, not for 215 strikeouts. I'm good.
And 215 strikeouts. That is 415 in 2 seasons.
I'm good.
But he did walk. He did walk 126 times this year.
He did. He somewhat made up for it, which at least he did something. He did do something like this.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that clip, I'm gonna miss using the Eugenio Suarez clip. I'm still gonna keep his, my 30-second countdown. I'm still gonna keep Suarez in there because there's no better 28 that we've had. And Jared Kelenic, number 10, I think he's still the best number 10 the Mariners ever had. Let me take a look at this.
Oh,
Mariners all-time jersey numbers. But I miss Kelenic a lot already. Like, he was my favorite player since 2019. I liked him more than Julio, and that's like a hot take. We had Suarez.
So
Jake Bailey.
I would say. So here's the thing. Number 44, of course, is taken by Julio Rodriguez at this moment. Is it? No.
Yes.
What number?
He's 44.
Is Julio Rodriguez? Isn't he 44?
Yes, 44.
Is he 44? Oh, yes. Okay, he is 44. So here's the problem. I was going to say the greatest Mariner to ever wear 44 was Paul Sorrento, but it's no longer the greatest to ever wear 44. It's Julio Rodriguez.
We have some unique luck with 44s. We've had Mike Cameron, Paul Sorrento, Richie Sexson, Taijuan Walker, and James Paxton all in 44s.
That's crazy.
It's pretty unique, I must say. Now let's look at number 28 was notably Raul Ibanez when I checked.
Joey Cora.
I'm still keeping Suarez in there. Maybe Joey Cora with a bunt where he nearly ran out of the baseline. And he arguably should have been out, but I'll
my
take
god,
it.
you're gonna argue that no matter what. But anyway, my voice is going. I got to get some rest because I'm still a little sick. But always a pleasure talking with you, my man.
Always. Thanks for your insights, and hopefully at least one of your predictions comes true, because we would love for the Mariners to at least get
Hopefully.
Blake freaking Snell.
Hopefully.
Oh, and before you go, here are number
Um,
10s. Jared Kelenic, Edwin Encarnacion, Ide Ho, Eric Thames, Adam Jones, 2007, Dave Holland.
So here's the thing. I just don't think that anybody was better than Lee Dae-ho.
Ide Ho.
Sorry.
Maybe
I'm sorry.
No, I'm still gonna leave Kelenic there for now.
Well, anyway, it was fun doing a second podcast tonight. I mean, excuse me. But I hope everybody out there who is watching does check out that podcast from Ready Set Action Commentaries. We're doing one more for the year, Home Alone 2 next week. But thanks so much, Rooftop, for allowing me to be on here tonight.
Before you go, I wouldn't want to mess up with your trip, Mr. Cheapskate. That uncle's a prick. There's nothing to defend on him.
No, there really isn't a defense on him. Uncle Frank is the biggest prick in the family, and the fact that Kevin's dad did not hit him, like if my uncle had called me a little jerk, a sourpuss, like if my uncle would have talked to me the way Uncle Frank talked to Kevin, oh, my family would have just absolutely just beat the crap out of him.
The only thing that the dad says, like, you're the kind of guy who probably has traveler's checks that doesn't even work in France.
Yeah, because he's a cheapskate.
Well, you got to go, man. Rest that voice, and thanks for that insight. And I think we may just end the show all around, because we pretty much dissected this trade like dissecting a frog. And there he goes. And looks like my viewer numbers are kind of down right now, so that's okay. Everyone's got to get some sleep and stuff. But everyone, thank you very much for being on this show to help go over this insane trade that just happened. And hopefully this salary dump of a trade actually does turn into something. But yeah, once again, thank you for being on this show. And once again, subscribe to this channel, make the donations, like the video, and everyone have a great night. And hopefully the Mariners will figure it out and go Mariners.